I call them the 6 ways to get out of debt. When I'm done, if you can think of another, let me know. These are the 6 ways that I've noticed in my 10 plus years in debt settlement that would allow anyone to get out of debt. They are long-term payoff. Sounds just like it is. Write a check every month. Just pay off that bill for as long as it takes you to pay off your debt. Statute of limitations, which I also call total avoidance. In a little while, I'm going to go into more detail about what the statute of limitations is, but there is one in every state, at which point debt cannot legally be collected anymore. Doesn't mean that debt collectors won't try, but total avoidance is a potential way to get out of debt. Comes with problems, but it's there. Bankruptcy, which I've talked about a little, and we'll again go into more detail on what happens when you file bankruptcy, how much it costs, what the ups and downsides are. There's using a debt consolidator. Debt consolidation is slightly different from debt settlement, so we'll go into what that means. There's using a debt settlement agency, which is the process of debt settlement. So everything you learn in this course will apply to that, only you're not doing it yourself. You're hiring another company to do it for you and paying them a fee for that service. And then there's, of course, do-it-yourself debt settlement, which I think is the easiest, fastest, most economical way. But you will see all the comparisons of each of them, again, as always, to figure out which one's right for you. And as we go through these 6 ways to get out of debt, we're going to compare each of them on the same 6 criteria. Criteria that will allow you to look at each method of getting out of debt and say, what are the upsides to this one, the downsides to another, in detail. Those 6 criteria are, how long will it take? This is a big question that a lot of people have. We know what long-term payoff could take. It could take a decade or more on some levels of debt. So we're going to find out what's the time frame in bankruptcy, what's the time frame in do-it-yourself debt settlement. We're going to talk about what the cost is going to be, how much it will cost you in interest, principal, commissions, and fees. We're going to talk about how much personal time and effort you're going to have to put in. Some of them require very little effort. Some of them require a lot of effort, constant attention. So you may decide that one that costs you more money is worth it if it costs you less time. The comparison will help you see through that. And of course, I'm going to talk about how you might feel about yourself with each of these ways. It's easy to say with long-term payoff, you might feel pretty good, very good about satisfying all that debt in full. And we've already talked about some of the negative emotions that might come along with settling a debt for less than the amount owed. So we're going to talk about each of these ways to get out of debt when it comes to how you might feel about yourself during and after the process. We're going to talk about the effect on your credit score. We've already talked about the fears that people have with their credit score dropping and how running the numbers may make it a better financial choice to allow your credit score to drop. Now we'll compare each of the 6 ways to get out of debt in terms of which might have a negative impact on your credit score and which might not, and what the differences between those are. And lastly, I'm going to talk about how much control you will have. And this might surprise you that I'm going to go into this, but I think it's a very, very important topic. In my 10 plus years working with clients and readers around debt settlement, I can tell you most people that I come across don't even think about what it means to be in control when it comes to getting out of debt. Most people feel completely out of control when they're trying to solve their debt problem. Like all the control has been taken away from them. In fact, if you're watching this course or if you've read other books by me or other books entirely on the process of debt relief, debt settlement, any of the different ways to get out of debt, you may be searching not just for a way out of debt, but for a way to regain a sense of power over your situation.